Welcome back to another Warhammer 40K video brought to you by One Mind Syndicate. I am your host, Gershwin, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
You're supposed to go first.
No, we didn't say we're going to switch it up.
Yeah,
Oh.
you always go first.
He goes,
The Sound Alchemist.
The Sound Alchemist.
docile creature.
And today we're going to be talking about everything wrong with the Orks. Faction focus, lore, tabletop, painting, everything you could imagine. And me being the Ork player, I think I have a lot of things that I have on my mind. But I'm going to pass it over to the Sound Alchemist.
I think the orcs are perfect the way they are. Ever since they're gestating from a tiny spore to whatever orcish creature they are, they're beautiful in their own way.
Yeah.
Be it Squig, Grot, Gretchin, Orc Boy, Orc Mech, Orc O-Knots.
Knobs.
There's a lot of orcs now that I think about it, and they're all fucked up. I hate them.
There's actually only 4 varieties, though.
And I
Of
hate all of
orcoids.
them. Yeah, I hate all those orcoids.
So I'm going to give you a crash course real quick for all of you guys. It's going to be, number 1, the squigs. That can go from the squig... It can go from the squigots all the way to this hair squig.
Squigots? It's just a phase they're going through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to listening to Screamo music, My Chemical Romance.
Shop at Hot Topic, Journeys.
Yeah, Zoomies.
Yeah.
Gonna curse out their parents, wear Jinko jeans,
Chain wallets.
There you go.
eyeliner.
And then there's the Grot, which is lower than a Gretchin. This is the kind of brainless Gretchin that runs around and just does random shit.
I never understood the difference between Grot and Gretchen. I'll be real with you.
So a Gretchin is just like a higher level of a Grot. A Grot, think of it as like a child that is just has the ability to run, hit, scream. Like their mobility is way better. They're
just
athletic.
stupid.
Yeah.
They're just stupid. Yeah. And then the Gretchin are obviously the ones that like are the backbone to most Orc clans in terms of like they know that they have to get the ammo, they have to clean out the the squig pen, they have to like do all that kind of like prep stuff, and then you have the Orc.
And pigs, apparently.
Yeah, pigs.
There are squig pigs, I think they're called, or something like that, or pig squigs. I don't know.
Well, aren't those just squigs?
I don't know.
Squig hogs.
Squig hogs. There you go.
Pig squigs.
Pig squigs. But going back to what's wrong with Orcs, I think right now on the tabletop it feels like Orcs were a horde army and that was robbed because you can no longer have the green tide. Orcs used to be squads of 30 boys and now they're down to 20 boys. And they're more expensive, I believe.
Well, they did get the Primaris upgrade, where a boy has a bigger, tougher, like, thicker skin, I guess? Because then they get like a 5-up toughness or something like that.
And strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a different kind of boy, right?
Nope.
No,
Beast
the
snaggers?
regular boy just got stronger, better, faster, tougher.
How are the beast snaggers different?
They,
I think they have 2 wounds
yeah.
each. And for everybody watching at home, this is the way I cheat. I'm going to let
He just
them know
makes
that
up
this is how this is how the Orcs play.
Not only that, but I'm pretty sure you cheated in the reverse when we played. Because
Why?
like, I was doing 1 damage to your beast snaggers and you were just pulling them off the table.
Oh, that's a lie. I think that they are just 1 wound.
Oh.
See, this is the best thing about Orcs, too. Or this is the cool thing about Orcs is, like, they're just, like, yeah, your brain is all over the place. You don't know when I'm telling the truth. You said it before, you're not going to learn my army.
No, I literally have a army list for Orcs on the site, so I can do this.
But that's another thing about about the Orcs in the current edition. They used to be, like...
1 wound.
Yeah, they used to be very like standard, and now you have this additional. What'd you call it? Primaris Orc, basically.
Yeah, Prime Orc was like the little moniker that they gave them.
Yeah, I don't like that. You should have just upgraded the kit like you did, and then not given us Beast Snagga boys. Made them as cool as Beast Snagga boys.
Or make them different, like not just boys, but like make them like different weapons or something like that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we already have a fast orc. Orcs on bikes.
Speed freaks?
Yeah, speed freaks. Why give us that other thing?
Then
Yeah.
what about the squig pigs, though? We need squig pigs.
Those are cool. Like, I like the captain that's riding, like, the shark squig,
Yeah.
squigonaut or whatever.
Squigosaurus.
Squigosaurus.
Yeah. I did find it interesting how Games Workshop decided out of all of the different clans that they could have focused on, they focused on Beast Snagga Boys, which is basically just an offshoot of Snake Bites, which is the tribal kind of like that kind of aspect of
Speaking of squigoths, snake bites.
Oh.
I almost had those when I was younger. Glad I didn't.
What do you have now?
Half a snake bite.
A snake nibble.
Oh, you said nipple.
Nipple.
Snakes
Don't have nipples.
nipples.
They're not mammalian. They're
Shut up, nerd.
I just wish that the orcs would have not. They wouldn't have focused on the snake bites. They would have focused on like any other clan, especially like the freebooters. Give me more pirates style orcs. Because yes, we have flash kits, and yes, we got Captain Bad Rucks or whatever. But no, give me more variety within because they're orcs in space. Don't give me orcs on squigs with some robot legs.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I wish that was true. I wish they focused on all the other clans and gave them specific models.
I think eventually that'll happen.
It's taking too long.
Well, they don't want to bust all their load all at once. They don't want to catch? No, they don't want to count their chickens before they hatch.
But yeah, that aspect of the orc lore is so grandiose, awesome,
goofy.
Yeah, play with it. Yes, that is another thing that is wrong with the orcs. They're portrayed as a very goofy faction,
which they should not be at all. These guys are pretty intimidating looking.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing them to all the other orcs in fantasies, these guys are brutal, cunning, sometimes cunningly brutal,
or brutally cunning.
Right.
I think their comedic aspect does draw a lot of people into them, though. It's a selling point for a lot of people. But I agree. I think they should just turn it down a little bit. Not get rid of it completely, because a lot of people do really like it.
Or do it in a proper way, because I feel that the concept of an orc fighting and getting hurt as a cheerful thing is scary in and of itself. So I was listening to an audiobook by, I think it's called Vox in the Void, and he was talking about or he was reading from a story where an orc boy loses his hog squig or squig
pig
hog.
Squig.
There you go, pig squig. And then he roars at the squig to say come back, and then the other orcs start laughing at him, and out of that laughter, the orc who lost his ride starts fighting another orc in order to get his ride, beats him up. They start laughing. The orc that beat up the other orc starts laughing, decapitates him, and then now he has a new ride. And I think that savagery is goofy as fuck, but it's savagery. Yeah. It's scary. Mm-hmm. And I wish certain stories played better to that. Not just oh, look at these space orcs. They're so goofy and stupid. They make stupid decisions.
I think the Plague Marines and the Death Guard kind of walk the same kind of line, but they're a little in the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. They're more scary and dreadful looking, but they have a splash of goofy, whereas orcs are mostly goofy with a splash of brutality mixed in.
Yeah, and it's probably because it's a carryover from back in the day when for Rogue Trader they did look like little goblins and stuff. But yeah, I wish more of the Codex portrayed that savagery and that evilness within orc society.
Yeah, it's I feel whenever you look at any type of animation for the orcs, especially the Hammer and Bolter ones, they just look like regular goofy
They're
things.
rock star orcs, aren't they?
They play guitar. It's just, I don't know, I wish they should have been more intimidating. You look at Gaskell Mag Orc Thraka, this dude's a beast. But this guy's this big hulking behemoth of an orc. Nothing can stop him. He gets beheaded, gets his head sewn back on. It's nothing happened. And then you look at Hammer and Bolter orcs, and they're sitting around a campfire telling stories.
They can't all be Margaret Thatcher, though. There's got to be some little piddly orcs, too.
True, but at least give us some type of ferociousness to it.
And this is where I think we've talked about the Dark Eldar before, but some of that sadisticness that the Dark Eldar are known for could fall in line with the orcs. I was reading another story for the orcs, and they were describing how an orc went to a rogue trader's battleship, and then he was able to pinpoint oh, I know a slave when I see one kind of thing, and the way that rogue traders were treating their serfs. We got to remember that orcs are they're not. They will take on slaves. Yeah. So the concept of having an orc rock star, but let's make the strings the entrails of some type of animal, or like something made out of the leather of like some dark Eldar scary shit like that. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But instead, it's just like, no, there's just an orc with a guitar, or by a campfire kind of thing. Make the campfire made out of like something cool,
like bones or something. Yeah, because every time you hear fan lore about orcs, they're really badass. Even like some like obscure lore about orcs, where it's like the demon, the guy that's like fighting demons.
Duska, the demon killer.
Yeah. It's really badass, but like you don't really get too much of that.
Yeah. Instead, they decide to focus on other orcs that are just like, eh. And then like shitty, goofy lore that exists is in one of the books that the Sound Alchemist, you gave me an orc faction focused book, and it was talking about how they captured an Imperial ship, they took over, and then the ships that they used to dock into the Imperial ship were destroyed, so now they didn't know how to leave the ship. So they're basically stuck inside of a ship. I thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of goofiness is not cool.
I wish there was more representation for the looted vehicles and stuff. Like, more variety. And, like, I get from vehicle to vehicle it's different, but when you have, like, 3 squig buggies, I wish they all looked different and, like, had different options. And I kind of wish there was, like, a kit that was, like, just, salvaged parts that you could, like, use to kit bash your minis.
Yes, kind of how Gene Stealer Cult has that same thing. So, like, you can take some Imperial Guard, whatever, like a tank or whatever, and turn it into a GSC. So if the Orcs had that with just, like, extra slabs of armor, that kind of stuff.
A little net full of squigs you can just strap to the side. A dude coming out of a hatch or something. Like, you could just throw it on any vehicle that you have.
Yeah, and make it more Grimdark, too, because I think I've told you guys how the most Grimdark model for 40K is actually a Grot. And he's like a Grot Oiler, I think, or like some type of ammo runt, who his legs are taken off and replaced with wheels, or one wheel. And he just looks like destroyed.
I would too if I had a balance for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's innate, right? Like,
you probably have a really strong core.
He has abs.
Yeah,
the model has abs. Yeah.
When you're on a wheel,
you gotta stay balanced all the time. You're like, ooh. Have you seen the people on unicycles how they're like going back and forth all the time?
Yeah,
that's your whole life.
Yeah, those guys
if you fall over, you just gotta be like, excuse me, like a turtle.
Or you could get up.
How?
You just like upper body strength and just throw yourself up.
So he's buff.
He's super swole. What I'm saying is, like, this model's a Grot, but he's the most Grimdark thing in all of Orc line or whatever.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the Orcs are missing nowadays, and it's like that randomness, that craziness, like the ramshackle chart and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of Orc players, the idea of kit bashing is just like it's part of the culture of Orcs. Yeah. And I think if Games Workshop made that easier, it would be fun. Because they would also sell more models.
Yeah, and like lean into it. Like make it more like a baseline for orcs, because it kind of is. It's like one of the selling points of having an orc army is you can just like slap whatever you want onto it and make it look cool, and it works.
Yeah.
Like lore-wise. Sorry.
Yeah, see? It's the Gretchin, or it's the spores coming out of your...
All right, boys.
You want to be an orc player at some point, don't you?
I don't know. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't know how to put them on the tabletop. Do you like how they are?
Not really. I don't like. I feel like there's a lot of details on them to paint too, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, you've been playing orcs for ever. Do you feel like edition from edition they play close enough to how they are that you still like them?
The best was, I think it was 7th edition. No, 9th. Where they were really good shooters and they were really good at close combat. Mm-hmm. That was mind-blowing to me. That Orcs rerolls on 1s, 6s give you additional.
The Bad Moons.
The clan rule. That felt really, really good. And yeah, I wish Orcs were like that. But like them in 10th edition, not having a shooty Orc army makes sense. They want you to lean in towards more of like buying Speed Freaks or buying the new Beast Naga stuff, which I think in the meta they're one of the best right now.
Yeah.
From the current time of us filming this video, But even though Games Workshop is doing a good job of kind of balancing out the playing field for all of the factions, so it is like a 50% win streak kind of thing.
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Yeah. They're a fun faction. I just feel like they could be corrected in the lore and a little like the miniatures themselves. Tabletop wise, just make them more hoardy. But I think Games Workshop needs to sell more models, right?
Yeah, because like in the lore, they're supposed to be as tough and as strong as a Space Marine.
Yeah.
Just they die way quicker, which kind of didn't really make sense. But because no matter what they're going up against, I feel like they just die in droves. But they're supposed to be as strong as a Space Marine. How does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think Games Workshop tried to fix that by giving them that extra toughness. But you're still wounding on, what is it, 3s?
Well, no, if they're toughness 5, you would need at least a
5s now.
strength 6 gun to
Wound down 3s.
wound down
What's
3s.
the average of the Intercessor?
Average what?
For their...
Toughness? 4s.
Bolt guns are usually like strength 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why it didn't make sense why they were that tough. Like I know in the lore they're supposed to be that tough, but I feel like when you're working with that type of a scale, it's hard to balance.
Yeah, when you're trying to make a game that functions. Yeah.
I wondered why not just add that to the strength then. That way you make them close or better in close combat. Because a Khorne Berserker is what right now? Or strength what?
4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's once you give them like the Eviscerator, their strength goes up.
Oh. So like a close combat army like Khorne still only has a strength 4.
Yeah, against toughness 5, so you need 5s to wound.
Yeah, but that just makes it more durable. Like I wish orcs were just like stronger. But that's interesting. Is there any like troop choice that's strength 6?
Oh, yeah.
There are, but like they're few and far in between.
Depending on the army too,
Yeah.
and the unit type.
I know for orcs right now on the tabletop for 10th edition, we're also missing AP. We don't have weapons that go through armor as good as other factions. So if we can get that, oh my god, that'd be amazing. We had it with the zap gun and the lift dropper.
But I feel like that's something that the orcs universally always should struggle with, because like they make weapons out of like trash.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like for them to have like this gun that shoots little pellets, be able to penetrate like tanks and stuff. That's kind of OP.
Or the shock attack gun. The shock attack gun shoots out grots.
But doesn't it also open like a time space vortex or some shit?
Yeah, they know how to do the webway, but only through weapons. Not really. Don't quote me on that, but yeah.
The teleporters.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of orcs that can be fixed.
I want them to make the Stompa good.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that what almost made me start an orc force was the fact that a Stompa is the same price as one of the Morkanauts or Gorkanauts.
Yeah.
And it's like massive. It's bigger than a knight.
Yeah.
It's like that could be like a centerpiece of my army for it's not cheap, but it's like the same size as a little Morkanaut.
Yeah.
And it looks super cool, and I could just like strap things to the side, and maybe I will, but
Yeah.
probably not.
I mean, you made
like
one.
150.
Yeah, like 150. But you made one out of a Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, and that's the cool part about like the orcs, right? You could just
You don't
make
even
shit
need
out of
any
scratch.
models.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool YouTubers that are popping up for orcs specifically.
Get your Hot Wheels cars out.
Yeah.
Look in your mom's drawers.
Get them bras and panties. That's what you were talking about. Gross. With that said, that's what I would fix about the orcs, and that's what I think is wrong with the orcs. Let us know in the comment section what you guys think.
Yeah, as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share with all your friends, and let us know what other orky business you want to see bussin'. As always, it's the Sound Alchemist,
Gershwan.
Docile creature.
and we out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.